time were you?
Just the overall feeling, just right now, how do you feel?
It's awesome. Can't really put it into words right now. I'm sure I'll feel it more when we're on the bus celebrating with my team. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Is this one sweeter than last year, or how does this one compare?
I think this one's a little sweeter because we had to face more adversity with Tony going down, and then going 2-2 at the beginning of the year and having to step up our game and winning 24 straight to get back here.
I wouldn't say you guys were written off at the beginning of the season, but when you lost Tony and then you guys lost a couple games, people, I guess, did they panic, or what was the mindset for you guys?
We weren't really panicked. We just knew we had to get back to practicing hard and back to work at practice, and she did a great job of doing that, and we knew we would win.
What was going through your mind when Stevens Point came back with those 2 runs?
Just hope they don't get that one last hit. Brett Yoder did a great job of getting that last out to put us in a position to come back and get a run. Great credit to him, he did his job, and then he also got a reach on an error, so did it with the bat too.
I think it's been a while since somebody has three-peated. I don't know, Dennis, you probably know, but expectations for next year for the team?
It's got to be the same thing. We got to go into the season thinking that we're the best and we're going to beat the best. And we're going to be back here next year going for gold again.
Coach Hamilton was saying it was kind of fitting in a way that you needed some adversity to get through this game, given that your season started with Tony going down and there being some adversity. That you think that's appropriate, that you guys maybe had to go through a little bit of a struggle at the end of this game here to win this thing?
Yeah, it was a story all season. We had to face adversity, and this was a great example of how we overcame the adversity and won the game.
Are you aware of the historical significance of this game? You guys have 7 titles now. His son Prairie does, which matches Appleton West for the most. Did you guys know that at all?
No, I did not know that.
What does it mean? What is it to hear that?
Just one of the best in the state now, I guess.
Easy one! Take the easy one!
Rob Hamilton, Division I State Championship Team Prairie. Please proceed to home court and receive the trophy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Get the chance to go photo op. Little photo op. Come on!
140 feet away, had a better view, and so he overruled it. But, you know, and again, in that situation, we just got to, you know, make sure that we don't let that bother us, and I think it did. I think it rattled the pitcher a little bit, got a fastball up, and credit to those guys, man, they battled, and they got a base hit and tied it up.
But it says an awful lot about your team to then respond to the next team.
Yeah, it sure does, and I just told these guys, this is classic of what this whole season was like with these guys. With Tony Butler going down before we ever had a pitch in the season, and they bent a little bit. We started the season out 2-2, but then they refocused and believed in themselves, and then ran 24 straight off to be state champs, and I couldn't be more proud of a group in my life. This is just unbelievable.
Rob, to bounce back when you're so close to the win and then give it up and then, you know, not kind of hang your heads, what is that?
Well, again, that's just these guys have so much character, and the guy that we had to lead off that inning was Brett Yoder because we burnt our DH, Mikey Brecky, and Yodes hadn't had a bat all year. Yeah, and he ends up putting bat on ball, getting on, and we were able to bunt him over, and then Connor Funnel clutches up and gets the winning hit.
Rob, what was your decision to start Connor for those 2 innings instead of maybe going with Ryan Curran?
Just what would happen. We wanted to make sure Brett was throwing in the 7th inning so that if it was extra innings, he'd get 3 extra innings. Otherwise, he'd throw 5 and he would have been done.
Rob, I'm sorry,
Connor did a very nice job for us. Gave up a couple of walks in the 1st inning. Both of those guys scored, and then he got out of it in the 2nd. And so it worked out all right.
And he got the big hit.
And he got the huge hit. Yes, he did.
how does this one compare to the 05, 06 teams?
Oh, boy. You know, it kind of reminds me of the 06 team a little bit. In the respect that year we lost Travis Rupert, one of our better players, to a knee injury, and this year we lose Tony, and kind of a lot of people counted us out, and they just never quit on themselves either. And this group, again, just like last year, just kept believing in themselves and wanted to finish it like they did.
Rob, were you aware of the historical significance that this gives Sun Prairie 7 titles now, and that ties Appleton West for the most?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Somebody had brought that to our attention, but again, these kids, you know, aren't into any of that stuff. They're just into trying to win this next game, and so it's great. You know, it says a lot about our community and the people that help coach in our community. It goes from our, you know, our staff at the freshman and JV level, Andy Thompson, Mike Cullen, Kevin Feiner, all those guys that work at the Prairie Athletic Club that help these kids in the off season. It's a really big community effort. It really is.
What kind of expectations do you have for next year?
Well,
Try to repeat.
Well, we obviously, you know, every year we start out with the first goal of winning the Big 8, and then we want to try to get the state, and then we want to try to win the state. So we'll take it one at a time and try to win the Big 8 next year.
Rob, have you been a part of 6 of those titles? Were you an assistant in 94 and 97?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Was this, of the title games, and I don't know the history of them, is this the most thrilling of those? Were any of the other ones?
Yeah, it might be with their big comeback there, and then we were able to close the door with them having runners at first and second, and then able to bounce right back to that next inning and then close the deal in the bottom of the 8th. It was pretty exciting. I remember in 06 we intentionally walked a kid, so they had first and second tying run on second, and we ended up getting a pop-up to our catcher Patrick Burr. Pretty exciting as well. I mean, right down to the last pitch.
So Jim corrected it, 26-2 and 24 game winning streak.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Rob, what's the differences and similarities with last year's team and this year's team?
Well,